guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to be sharing with you 3 things that I wish we had done differently in regards to this house. Some of them were kind of a little bit outside of our control at the time, and a few things but I think perhaps we could have changed earlier on, but now it would just be too much work. So yeah, I just want to share that with you, because whenever you go to build a house, no matter how much you plan things on paper, when it comes to actually seeing things manifest, it can be very different. But not only that, I think that the problem that we had with doing this house was that it started off as being 2 apartments, and because over time we decided to change things, we kind of had to adapt on what was already here, and so we're trying to make the most of what we can with what we have at the moment. And so we've just been trying to do the best we can do, basically. But I'm going to definitely show you guys 3 things I really wish that we could change, which I think would, if we could change, would make the house that much better. So yeah, let's have a look. Mistake number 1. The first mistake that we made with this house, or regret rather, is that we wish that this house, we brought it this way a bit. I would say probably to about here. Now the reason for wanting to bring the house forward a bit more is just so that we could have more garden space at the back of the house. For me personally, I feel like although having space at the front of the house is really good as well, I feel like if you have space at the back of the house, it feels more private, a bit more secluded as to having it here. Especially if you don't have a gate which is fully covered. It kind of feels like people walking past on the street are looking at you, and so I personally would prefer to have a back space, and I feel like you can be a bit more creative with what you're doing if it's at the back. So that is definitely a mistake that I think, or a regret rather, that we would like to change. Just bring it a little bit forward, but obviously we're working with what we had. The house was originally 2 apartments, so that's where it is. So the original house is obviously down the bottom here. So this is the original building, this bottom part, which is like a yellowish or whatever color that is. I don't even know what color that is. Whatever color that is. That was basically the boys' quarters. It was a 2-bedroom, and that just stood there by itself. And we have obviously built and gone up, so we just worked with what we had. And obviously the building is not resting on the boys' quarters. We have done pillars and stuff like that to make sure that
various columns and pillars.
Yeah, columns and pillars to make sure that the top is not weighing on the bottom of the building, because it wouldn't be strong enough.
Yeah, building regulations.
Yes. Okay, and the next thing, mistake or regret, I keep saying mistake, regret number 2 is this whole area. This area right here, which is like a carport. We definitely regret this part as well. What happened is this was never ever actually going to be a carport. We wanted to extend the upstairs and make the upstairs bigger. Rather than having it the width of the 2-bedroom, we wanted to make it a bigger house. And the only way to do that was to bring the house out onto this side. And as I said before, it was meant to be 2 apartments. So this was meant to be an apartment, and the upstairs was meant to be like a bigger apartment. So it wasn't really meant to be a carport for us. It was actually going to be a rental. So what was going to happen is that one person was going to be able to park here, other tenant was going to be able to park their car here, so that they wouldn't disturb each other. And that was the original plan. But obviously as things changed and we decided that we were going to live here ourselves and make this our dream home, plans changed, things changed, and so we decided to, we just changed everything. But actually I'm wondering, Chloe, perhaps we should have made this a giant hallway. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean,
just so you could start it from the front of the house. Maybe should have been here.
Yeah, but I would. And then what would you do with this? It would be long. It would look long.
Yeah, I know. It would have been a bit of a dead space, really, wouldn't it?
Yeah, very dead space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think another thing about,
you could have made it into a swimming pool.
Yes.
Indoor swimming pool.
We
yeah.
did actually say that we could have one of those long type swimming pools.
Indoor, just in the centre, and then swap this over, and then the entrance of the house comes on.
Yeah, absolutely.
On to the other side.
Yeah, that would have been really quite nice actually to have something like that. But I think as well, yeah, if we had done that and made it too long, it would have just been like a long dead space. It wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
And I think one thing about Ghana as well, when you have a car, it's really good to keep it under the shade, because the sun here is so hot that if you leave your car outside all the time, it can actually start to get damaged inside, especially if you have like leather interior. It starts to tear and all that stuff. So it's always really good to keep your car under a carport, which is partly the reason why we left this as a carport.
Yeah.
So ideally, I wouldn't have designed a house and thought, okay, well, this is going to be a carport and then have the front door behind it. Because this, basically, if I take you here, this right here is our front door. And our car basically parks right in front of the front door. This is not a design that I personally would have chosen. But as I say, it's just kind of worked out that way. So we're just going to make the most of what we have. It is what it is. Yeah, so that's definitely regret number 2.
Yeah.
And our third regret is this. The original boys' quarters that was here. We wish so much so, looking back now, that we had actually demolished the whole building. Just because this building was built many, many years ago and it is not straight. So you can kind of see, if I show you guys, if we start here, see this, what is this, a column?
Beam.
A beam, right? If you watch this beam, if we keep watching this beam here, can you see that it starts to get wider and wider? And it keeps going. It gets wider and wider and wider. And the reason for that is because the building is not straight, which means that our front door here is also not straight. Nothing is straight, and it's quite hard to try and straighten it now.
No, you can.
How do we straighten it?
Oh, it's possible. As for that one, it'll definitely 100% disappear. So that's what we're going to do is, obviously, we know that, remember, this was a temporary accommodation that we're staying in, so we can build up the top, isn't
Yeah.
it? So down the bottom, we just have to renovate inside. So concerning like the beam here, that'll be covered within the ceiling.
Okay.
So the structures will still stay there.
Yeah.
Because remember, it's a separate entity to the other building.
Yeah.
Because it stands alone. It's got its own columns, own beam. So if we followed the plan of the ground,
Yeah.
you would have affected the plan up the top.
Right. Okay.
So that's why. So all these can be covered cosmetically. Yeah.
Okay. So then that means that.
Like this big gap you got there.
Yeah. So this gap that we have here, how would you cover that? Because in my mind, you could just bring the plaster out and do it straight. But obviously we've got a window here, so how does it work? I'm no builder.
Yeah.
So how do you correct that?
Correct the ceiling. So the ceiling will stop under the beam. The POP ceiling.
Okay, so you wouldn't see it.
That's it.
Oh, so this would be a low ceiling here.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a low ceiling because it's not low. The ceiling is not low. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the
Okay.
ceiling is definitely not low. So
Okay.
yeah.
I get you. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's
definitely-
enough height here. Then, because this one measures up to about 3 meters, 500.
Okay.
So by the time you've done the finished ceiling level, you've got everything
you have enough
fit to a
space
T. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And that's why, so the stairs and everything that we can correct and gauge it because we've got the height.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how you correct it. Old to new.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so those are the things that we regret the most. Those are the top 3, I would say. There are obviously little things that we probably would like to change within the house itself, but I mean they don't really disturb us so much. But I think these 3 things that I've already mentioned,
Yeah.
those are the main things.
Even like what you mentioned here, like the door. Obviously you said that we'll move the door to a different location.
Yes, we
So
are
that's
going to do
another
that.
plan.
So once we move upstairs, we're actually going to revamp down here.
Correct.
So we're going to move some stuff. So this front door here is not going to be within the house. It's going to be on the other side. So we're going to put it this side because we want to divide up the space inside the house.
Correct.
Differently.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that is it. But
See,
anyway.
I know, babe, you're the one for the design. That's for me. Layouts I can set out for you. I mean,
Guys, yeah, that's it for today, I think.
yeah, I remember this one. This window's going.
I keep saying that. I'm trying to wrap up the video.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, go on. Say it. No, go on.
No, I'm
This
saying that
window-
remember the window's gonna go. This window, we're gonna take this window out.
Yes, we are going to take this window out.
Yeah, and then
move it.
relocate it to the back. And that's one of the
Yeah.
reasons why you said you wish we had a bigger
More
back
space at the
space.
back, yeah.
Because that room there is a very important room that we wanted there, remember?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Because we want to give access to a boys' quarters at the back of the house.
Yeah.
So we need to basically make a few adjustments. But we'll talk about that in another video. Yeah, but that's it for today, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button for me, hit the notification bell. Please do me a favor and don't forget to like, comment, and share this video too. Until next time, guys, I am out. Nutifamba.